I'm going to talk to you about approach shots because that's probably the part of the game that people don't talk about a lot. And I'll tell you, I'm one of those players like everybody else. I work on my approach game. You'll see guys going out to the course or to the field, and they're practicing drives, they're practicing long anhyzers, and they go and they practice putting. The one thing I don't see people do is practicing approach shots. You'll find that's one of the big things that makes a difference between good scores and not good scores is you find one of these guys, a top pro, not an old guy like me, but one of these guys is a top pro. When they're within 200 feet of the basket, they're up and down no matter what's in their way. Whether it's wide open like this, there could be trees everywhere. They have an approach shot that gets them to that basket into their comfortable circle, which Robert will talk about here in a minute. But they have a shot that gets them to that comfortable circle 100% of the time. And that's the key. He's going to tell you a little bit about putting here in a second, but my favorite putt is the one I call the Shaquille O'Neal, where it's close enough where on my approach, I can grab it and slam it with two hands, you know. Because if I'm pretty good from 1 foot away, I promise you that. I'm pretty good from 1 foot away. Now I'm going to tell you a couple of things about how to get up and down, like from here to that basket, every time. A lot of the things that Miles just talked about your hyzers is going to apply in this situation, especially when it's open. I'll tell you what to do when it's not open, but especially when it's open, you want to go with the most consistent shot you have, which for most everybody is going to be that soft hyzer. He just talked about that. And when you're trying to get to the basket, you want to make sure you have a good line to that basket. You see the line that the disc is going to be flying on, and then you just make sure your disc hits that line that you're looking at. You do want to learn your disc. Everybody has the disc that they like for their approach shots. You know, Robert and I are Warden guys. We like the Warden. I'll tell you, the Judge is a great disc for that. The Mercy's a little bit slower, but you want a disc that flies nice and smooth for you. You can make a very smooth shot. And there's 3 things I want to tell you got to do to make sure you get to the place that you want to get it to. The first thing, if I'm approaching that basket there and my mark's right here, I want to kind of turn my shoulders sideways. You know, you kind of do something different when you're driving, but I want to kind of turn my shoulders sideways where here's the line that I'm going to be throwing the disc at. It's right here. So my shoulders are pointed together toward that line so that when I release the disc, I'm that way. And then, that's the first thing. And then I want to open up my front foot just a little bit, because what that does, I'll open this one up a little bit and push this one out a little bit, because what that does is when I'm open, I really can't make a mistake. It's hard to throw if I try to flip the disc over from this stance, I really can't do it. It's going to be really uncomfortable. This kind of forces me, when I reach back and follow through, that disc is going to be on a hyzer, because that's the only way to actually throw when your stance moves from right here to just this little bit of an adjustment. It has to be a hyzer. There's no other way I can naturally throw the disc without being very uncomfortable. A lot of people don't understand that, but where your feet are has a lot to do with that. So, I said next thing you're going to do is find the line that you want to throw the disc on. And of course, learning your disc and what they're going to do after they hit the ground has a lot to do with that. But I see that line in my mind. Here's where I want to throw. Here's where I want to come to. And I'm going to put that disc on that line as I get ready to throw, so that when I turn this disc, it's going to go that direction. And then the most important thing, and Johnny McRae is one of the best at saying this on every disc golf shot, is follow through. When I mess up an approach shot, it's because I do this, and I want to go look at it. And what did I not do when I just did that? I didn't follow through. You want to get back in your spot. You're not turning your back like you on a drive. I can see my spline, and I still want to follow through like I normally would. You don't want to shorten it. That's the one thing you're going to do wrong. If you want to get there and then look and see how pretty it is, you're going to be in trouble. You want to follow through. Now, I'm going to this basket. I'm going to show you a couple of throws real quick. I'm going to throw a little hyzer shot, smooth, easy. With my putter, it should get there and fall to the left. So I know my disc, and I put 2 discs there. You see that black and white disc there? It's about 10 to 15 feet to the right and up from the basket. That's where I'm aiming. So I line my shoulders up to that spot, because I know when I throw this, it's going to fall a little bit to the left, hopefully 10 feet, hopefully, and I'll get it under the basket. So I see my line, I get it right here, where I want to throw, and then I reach back and I follow through. And hopefully that disc is going to fall to the left where I'm close to the circle of where I can easily make a putt. That's what you want to do. And you see how I know what my disc is going to do in the air? So I don't throw at the basket, I'm throwing at a spot. Same thing. If I'm going to open up a little bit, find my line, reach back, follow through. Make sure you're doing that follow through, because if you don't follow through, you're not going to do it right. That's one thing I can emphasize more than anything else. There's some things you want to do differently if you have a situation where you absolutely need to throw it flat straight. If I have to throw it flat straight, I'm going to keep my stance flat. And occasionally there's a spot where I have to throw it, where I have to throw an Anheuser turnover shot. When I do that, same thing. If I'm throwing a hyzer, which is going to be most of the time on my approaches, I go to even and I open up like this. So when I throw it, it has to go hyzer. If I have to go flat, I line up even and I stay even, and I'm going to throw flat. As Miles already told you, that's the hardest one to judge the distance, and you run the risk of flipping it over or letting it tail out, burn out too quick. If I have to throw Anheuser, if I get forced in that situation, same thing, basic principle apply. Here's where I'm lined up. So I'm going to open up the opposite way. I'm going to close off, I guess is what we would call it. I'm going to move this foot back and this one up a little bit, so that when I throw, you see now, I can't really, to throw a hyzer is uncomfortable. Now, if I throw it, it has to come out of my hand like this. Does that make sense to y'all? So that when I have to throw it, this is a tailwind, so this is not going to be pretty.
Dude, it is.
So when I have to throw an Anheuser, I see the line, the disc is going to come on, and I do the same thing. Follow through.
Yeah.
That's a little bit deep, but that's okay. I knew say tailwind. I told you tailwind is going to mess me up.
You're too strong.
Let me get this swan. It should turn faster. I mean, that's probably maybe my range still, but same thing. If I turn my hips this way, I have to throw the disc like that. Does that make sense to everybody? There's no comfortable way to be turned like this and then try to throw a hyzer. It's uncomfortable. My body has to be like this to throw a hyzer when I'm on a standstill stance. So if I have to throw Anheuser, I'm going to be like this. Same thing. Follow through, and it should fall to the right a little bit and get in my circle.
Yeah.